You know what the Buffett rule is? It's millionaires would have to pay 30% tax as a minimum, right? So if they do all the tricky Harry Pizicki stuff that they do to put all the loopholes, exemptions, et cetera in, as for example Mitt Romney has done, in the taxes that he released, he was paying 14%. He wouldn't release others because they're so embarrassingly low, the taxes that he's paying. He hides his money in Swiss bank accounts and offshore in Bermuda. It's literally true, okay? Finally, in the last couple of years, as he's running for president, he's like, oh my God, hiding the money in the Swiss bank accounts, that looks pretty bad. So finally, I'll stop doing that. But we know for a fact that he was doing that all the way to 2010. Okay, so he's doing all this to hide his money, as all the rich do, right? Not all the rich, I should say a lot of them do. And of course, the Republican Party's job is to protect the rich. So they hate the Buffett rule. Actually making rich people pay taxes? Now their top rate is supposed to be 35%. If you get rid of the Bush tax cuts, it's supposed to be near 40%. All we're asking them to do is pay 30%, less than that. No, can't have it. Republicans in the Senate today filibustering it, not just opposing it, filibustering, saying that under no circumstances we view taxing the rich at all to be so extreme that we would do this extreme legislative maneuver called the filibuster, and that's what they're doing today. John Cornyn is on television. He's asked to justify it. Let's listen.
Look at the latest Gallup polling data. 60% of Americans favor it, 37% oppose. But look, given the popularity of this, is it unwise for your party, Republicans, to oppose it?
Well, I think we need to put it in context. And the fact is that this Buffett rule, which will essentially eliminate capital gains tax treatment for people who pay income taxes on an individual tax return, that includes a lot of businesses, will discourage investment at a time we need the private sector to invest more, to create more jobs, to bring unemployment down. And the president himself admits that this will not fix the problem with this $15 trillion debt. It's a drop in the bucket. And what we really need, instead of this distraction, instead of this attempt to divide Americans along class lines, is real tax reform.
That's awesome. First of all, it's a drop in the bucket. Now, they lost their minds over the GSA scandal. That's where they went to Vegas and partied. That was $800,000, okay? You know what the Buffett rule would create in extra revenue? $50 billion. But that's a drop in the bucket. But $800,000, that the world should come down. Oh my God, we're so upset. Solyndra, scandal, okay? $500 million, right? The Buffett rule, $50 billion. Do you understand the scale here? So Solyndra, oh my God, Solyndra, the biggest scandal the world has ever seen. How can you waste government money like that? But $50 billion, oh, that's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. Ignore the rich, please, whatever you do. I love the rich. I want to make out with a rich person every single day. That's basically what John Cornyn is saying on television. And please don't hurt him. Please don't hurt him, dog. I love him so much. And if you say, hey, they should pay their fair taxes, we're not even asking for their 35% rate, which is the legal rate. We're saying, hey, at least pay 30%. And they're saying, asking the rich to pay their taxes is class warfare. How could you? Okay? And this is done to divide the country, et cetera, when you know we would all unite if we let the rich pay no taxes at all. Republicans work for the rich. If you're not a millionaire, what are you doing voting for Republicans? How stupid are you, man? They just use your vote and then they laugh at you. They laugh at you behind your back. Here comes more Cornyn bullshit.
The last time we tried this was the alternative minimum tax, which was targeted at about 150 taxpayers who paid no tax. Strangely enough, over the years, that tax grew to now include up to 30 million people, including many middle-class taxpayers. This is a Trojan horse. This is not just targeted at the very rich. And you know what, Greg? What we also need to do is look at why is it that half of the households in America pay zero income tax?
Oh, that's terrific. So this is a Trojan horse because he said literally it is not targeted at the very rich. But it literally only applies to people making over $1 million a year. It's even scaled in between $1 million to $2 million. So if you're just making $1 million in income, you're not even going to get the full brunt of it. So are you saying people making $1 million a year are not the very rich? Then what are they? Are they middle class? Are they poor? Is that what? Maybe among Republicans, they're like, well, I do declare they're only making $1 million to $2 million a year. Well, I would put that in middle class. But you're lying. You're an absolute filthy liar, okay? Because It literally, if you make $999,000 a year, which is an unbelievable amount of money, it doesn't apply to you. And then what does he say at the very end? He says, 46% of Americans don't even pay any federal tax. That's because they're so poor that it doesn't apply to them. But they pay the payroll tax, they pay the sales tax, and it's a much larger portion of their income than it is for the rich, even if they're paying this Buffett rule. Because you're taking such a huge chunk out of the money that they have to spend to actually live. But so what's he doing though? He's saying, we are taxing the rich too much, we're not taxing the poor and the middle class enough. That's why he's saying that the bottom 46% should have to pay more in taxes, the top 2% should have to pay less. He's saying it right there. They just have given up any pretense of caring about the average citizen at all. They're just putting their flag and saying Republicans are for the rich. And if you vote for them and you're not among those millionaires, you're a jackass.